I am going to take time out to welcome outstanding author here on the GMAP Broadcast Network. Sheri Briggs is here, and I am going to be bringing her right in with us. And Sheri, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, please, if you have to ask me, I must be slipping. You know I am excited. I'm wonderful, I am grateful, and I'm honored. Thank you so very much for just simply taking the time out to be here with us today. And of course, thank you also for accepting the invitation to be a part of our broadcast network family. Thank you, and thank you. And I tell you,
Thank you.
I am excited to hear what it is that you have to share with us today on your outstanding. Now, for those that don't know, Sheri is one of our featured authors on the GMAP Broadcast Network. All you have to do is stop by our platform, gmap1.com. Click on the tab that is simply titled Featured Authors. You'll see a copy of her publication there, and I'll be showing that to you a little bit later on. But in the meantime, I am just going to dive right in because, Sheri, I want to know a little bit about you. So I want you to simply do me a kind favor, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, tell us where you're from. Who is Sheri Briggs, if you don't mind sharing?
Okay. Um, well, I'm Sheri Briggs. I am a wife, a mother, and I founded a nonprofit in San Diego, California called Bridge of Hope San Diego. And what we do there is our mission is to strengthen families in transition, those starting over with nothing. So we start them over with practical items for their home that they need. Could be families leaving homelessness, domestic violence, recovery. We work with refugees, immigrants, all people that are starting over with nothing. We provide furniture, all household items, and we're a large food distributor in San Diego as well as clothing. So that's a big part of what I do. And from that, and from my own personal journey, I wrote a book, Relentless Pursuit, God's Gentle Guidance Amidst the Storm. And in that book, I shared all the details about growing up in a very abusive alcoholic home to and a cult until I was 19, and how God rescued me and taught me who he was and set my feet on a solid rock of who he is, studying his names, knowing his character, and from that, getting a vision that God had given me for this place, Bridge of Hope. Um, and God just began to confirm that vision. And over time, it's been 19 years we've been in operation in San Diego and growing. And so that book shares that whole story. And that's, kind of the nuts and bolts, I guess, of who I am.
Ah,
I'm also
wow.
I'm also a grief counselor. I lost my son 8 years ago, and so I'm a grief counselor, working a lot with families who have lost children. And yeah, and I also have a podcast that I began after I wrote my book, just to interview and talk to other people like you who are doing the stuff out there, who are reaching people with their lives and their stories. So yeah, that's me.
Wow. And I am just overly excited about your new book. And, is this in fact your very first release, or is this something a follow up to something you've previously written before?
No, this is my first release. Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I tell you, I am excited for you. And I want you to know what is really the root foundation. I mean, where did it all begin? Where did it come from? How did you make that decision to say, hey, it's time to disseminate this information in this book publication to people around the world so they can really know, all about what it is that I'm sharing? How did it all begin for you?
Yeah. Well, I just really felt like I wanted to impart to the next generation faith and hope in a vision. God speaks to all of us. He's always speaking and he's always inviting us into where he's working, right? So I wanted to encourage the next generation in this process that, hey, God calls us to dream with him and to hear his bold out in faith in certain areas. So my book originally was like to share what God's done through Bridge of Hope. We had no money, we had nothing other than just our dependence on Him, and that's exactly how He wanted it. So I wanted to encourage people through the book. But then as I began to write, I felt like my whole story was really important, and I needed to kind of connect the dots from the very beginning of what God had rescued me out of, because that's really where my organization began and how God met me when I needed Him, and I was a single parent needing help. And so I guess I began to see, no, there's so much more that God wants me to share, just the raw, organic, or real, authentic truth about me. And so then that changed. That I was sharing things in the book I had no plan to share, but I knew God had really asked me to share, because it's really His story, right? We're supposed to share and declare His mighty wonders. It's our call to declare who He is through our story and our testimonies. And so really, I feel like it was an obedience thing. I don't think I'm a great author or anything. People are like, oh, you can write, you're a good writer. I'm like,
Mm.
I just feel like, okay, I just feel like I was obedient. Um, but now that it's done, I am writing another one. So it's funny how that happens.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
was going
I just feel
to
like I was supposed to.
I really I was going to ask you that because I know that a lot of times, we go through the process of really diving into something that we really have a passion for. And I was going to ask you that question. Now that you have done it and you looked over where it all began and where you are now, my next question to you was what's next?
Yeah. Well, I just decided to because I sit with mothers who've lost children, and I see how important those early years of processing grief are, just the raw emotion and the ability to share that. I'm now pulling all my journals. I began writing a month after my child died, and I'm pulling those journals and just writing them out. So basically, they're journal entries, and I feel like that will help others
Mm.
because it'll reflect their pain, and then just even the showing the transition of all the wrestle with Jesus over such difficult times,
Yeah.
and then how He's pulled me through. So I want that to be something that encourages others. So that's kind of what inspired this next one, and then we'll see
Wow.
what happens after that.
And I mean, I'm just so excited for you, and I know that it's important for you to release this information. Now, I'm gonna again share with our viewers and listeners around the world. Sheri is one of our featured authors, and all you have to do is stop by our platform, gmap1.com. You will click on the tab that is simply titled Featured Authors. You'll see a copy of the current publication that I'm showing you on our television screen. And of course, we encourage you to purchase, share, and when you do, I just want you to be aware it is so important that you take the extra step and leave a review. It is so
Mhm.
important that you leave a review. I'm sure Sheri will appreciate it. I'll appreciate it. Amazon will appreciate it. And those viewers that are on the outside looking in, making their decision on whether or not they want to purchase and read this publication, they will appreciate it because they want to know what you think. They want to know how you feel. And Sheri, speaking of that, if in fact you wanted to share this information with our viewers and listeners, and they wanted to show their love, their care, their concern and support, what's the process? I mean, how could they get a copy of your current publication?
Oh, thank you. Well, it is available on Amazon, and then also sherrybriggs.com. It has a link directly to the purchase on Amazon. So that's just the best way. I think it's at Barnes and Noble too. But I just hope, if you're needing encouragement, if you're needing to trust God in really, really difficult circumstances, if you're trusting God for a vision or a dream that you have, or coming through, just a difficult abusive situation or whatever it is, the book kind of covers a lot, and it really points to God's faithfulness in his goodness, and brings hope. So if you're one of those people, or you have a friend that is struggling or whatever, there's a lot in this book to bring encouragement to you. So I hope you can pick it up.
Now, I know for a fact that there's some upcoming, encouraging, wannabe authors that want to begin their journey that is just in their spirit. What words of encouragement would you have to share with someone who wants to start writing and be an author and start their journey
Mhm.
today?
My words of encouragement are really just pray, keep writing every day, even if you don't feel inspired. Get your journal, write every day. Don't feel like you have to feel something sometimes to write. Get in a writers group. I had a great support system with a bunch of writers. They were all accomplished and some published authors, and I wasn't. But just their feedback and being transparent with sharing my work, and they really challenged me. I think that's super important. And don't ever believe that you can't do it. You can do it, and that your
Mm.
story is important. I think that's the biggest thing, is it is important. It's what we're supposed to do, whether it's speaking and sharing our stories, or writing, or even a fictional story or children's story. I mean, all of it is so powerful. People need to write and read. And so I just encourage you to believe in yourself.
They want
Yeah.
to share what's on their heart. They want to
Yes.
share what someone could use, possibly even as a resource, to build their self esteem, to be
Yes.
encouraged. I got word from Mr. Vic Walters. He's over at Comcast Cable. He loves your book. He loves
Oh.
the fact that you're sharing this information. And he told me in my text a few moments ago, he said, Kevin, number one, I want to re air this conversation on Comcast Cable and Roku worldwide, nationwide. And I said,
Oh,
oh, wow, really? And he's encouraged by it. He's listening. And I want to thank
mm,
you, Vic. I know you're always a supporter. And I am looking
mm.
so much forward to connecting with you following this conversation. But I'm so glad you tuned in today. And you always are supportive. And I'm sure Sherry will appreciate it as well. And Sherry, I
Thank
want to
you.
know there's some other individuals that in fact, may want to reach out to you on a more individual basis and maybe discuss a few things. Is there some contact information that you don't mind sharing with us today where they can reach you?
Sure. You can reach me at sheribriggs.com. I'm also on Facebook, Sheri Briggs, SheriBriggs. I'm on Instagram. But I think the best way is to reach me through sheribriggs.com, and I'll get your message there. And I would love to talk to anybody who, yeah, has a question or wants to be encouraged in any way. Yeah.
And I know it's going to be encouraging to a lot of people. And I'm excited once again that you have taken the time to be here with us today. And of course, be a part of our broadcast network family. You'll be there for quite some time because I'm inspired to be able to inspire others with this awesome publication. Again, Sherry is one of our featured authors, and we encourage you to show your support, show your love, care, and concern. Leave a review, please. Leave a review and continue to tune in because we're going to continuously reach out to you, Sherry, and have you give us a follow up. Tell us what you have coming up. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us where you're going to be. If you're going to speak, if you're going to do other podcasts, we want to know it. And you have our number. So we want you to use it and we want you to let us know what we can do to assist you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And when you do so, I want you to know two things. The answer will always be yes, and you'll never have to ask me twice, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And before I let you go, Sherry, I wanna move over, and I just want to give you an opportunity to speak to the thousands of people around the world. Tell them what's on your heart. Tell them how you feel as far as why it is that you feel in your spirit they should show their support, purchase a book, and use it as a resource and share it with others. I just want you to
Mm.
speak from the heart. I'm moving over and I'm going to say, Sherry, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I think if anything, the book would be a tool to know more how much God loves you and how he sees you. I focus a lot on the names of God, the Hebrew names of God at the beginning of every chapter, to where what was going on in my life shows how God met me in his name and who he is and his the truth of his character. So that's for everybody. God's no respecter of persons. He's this for everybody. Have a lot of miracles throughout the story, miracles that have happened during severe crisis and severe heartache. Yet there is this miracle, this suddenly, this intervention that God is always in the intervention business. He's always moving into our circumstances. And so, whether we see it or not, but he's always there. He's Emmanuel, right? God with us. So I think that this is a book for this hour, as there's so much going on in our world, yet God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that is what the book tells, and how he is faithful and true. And you can fully lean on him and walk with him and be led by his spirit. So yeah, that would be my why I wrote the book, is to just encourage people to trust him in the darkest places.
I just got another comment here saying amen to that young lady, and I'm sure her publication is going to be, I'm reading it here, is going to be an inspiration to millions of people around the world, and I
Oh,
appreciate her. And that was from Tracy. I'm having trouble saying her last name, Roland. She says, thank you so much. And she's encouraged and inspired by what you're sharing.
oh,
I'm going to be
thank
inviting you
you.
back. I'm going to reach out to you shortly and just let you know how things have went, and just giving you a little other information. I'm going to also be posting this conversation up live on our social media channels. I'll be sending you a copy, and we hope and pray that we could hear from you very, very soon. Invite you back, get a follow up of how things are going. And of course, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to be contacting you shortly, because if Vic is that serious over at Comcast, I know he look at it. He gave me a thumbs up. He is excited. So I'll be reaching out
Oh,
to you, Sherry, and thank you so
thank
very
you.
much for being here. I look forward to hearing from you again soon. I'll be talking with you, and I'll be letting you know shortly when the video will be available for others to view. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You have a fantabulous rest of your day. I look forward to hearing from you and talking to you. Be blessed, and you continue to be a blessing to others.
Thank you.
Sheri Briggs, right here on the number one station in the nation, GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com, one of our featured authors. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I got more great music coming up in the meantime. Continue to be blessed and be a blessing, and I shall return shortly, right here on the number one station in the nation, GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com.